Welcome back, everybody. Axel Gumbel here with the final piece in our Heritage Highlight series. Back with us is Matt Dacy, Director of Heritage Hall. And today we are in Heritage Hall. Wonderful place to be, Matt. Thanks for joining again.
Thank you, Axel.
This is, of course, a place full of Mayo Clinic history. And today, for this final segment, we're trying to kind of draw an arc to the future. And Matt, how do we do this in a place like this, where it is all about history, but there are many connections to the future?
Sure, we know we're all about bold forward, 2030 vision, systems thinking, artificial intelligence platform. What's unique about Mayo Clinic is that all of these forward-looking initiatives have deep roots in our culture. Our values never change, but we're all about constant innovation. We got a couple examples here for you, Axel, as far as how all the forward-looking thinkings of things of Mayo today have these deep roots, what we've always been doing.
And we're standing right in front of the first example here, Matt, if you want to
Sure.
talk about the what we're looking at
Many colleagues and patients know one of the unique features of Mayo are these colored lights by the exam room doors. Very efficient. They give you a visual cue from a distance how the room is being used. That's a very modern electronic way of communicating, but more than a century ago, the same principle was right here, a hand-manipulated semaphore. You would pull down these slats by the exam room door, and the colors gave you, again, the visual symbol. So the principle remains the same, just the delivery system is different. Another example is communications. We're all about the Mayo portal, the Mayo app, on-demand information. But more than 100 years ago, Mayo Clinic was the first medical center in the world with a multi-source intercommunicating system, and it worked like this. Every provider at Mayo Clinic had his or her own personal telegraph code. Now, I was a Boy Scout. Many people were Boys and Girl Scouts here, but you would hear this clatter going off, and that was your personal code. If you heard that sound, you would simply go to the nearest telephone, and you would call to get the patient's report.
Wow, so you said every physician, every staff member had a code?
Every physician. Okay. And so you would know that you would hear your own distinctive code, and that would call you to go to the nearest phone.
And that was announced over a
well, you had these telegraph tickers all throughout the building.
Oh,
and
sure.
So you're walking down the hall, that's you. And so you would know to go and get this, and then the report was coming in. That way, you are making the best use of your time. You're getting information in real time that you could use to help patients.
And today, that is the pager, which in some respects is also kind of going out of style now. So.
And then I tell my children that someday in Heritage Hall, we're going to have this. And then there'll be something else that you're carrying in your wallet or your pocket.
Yeah. Well said, Matt. Well said. And I believe you had another example that dealt with communication.
So over here is the story of the Mayo medical record. One of the unique strengths of Mayo Clinic is we are a Fort Knox of medical data. We have millions of patient packets of information that are so helpful for individual patient care, population studies, et cetera. But long before the electronic medical record, there was a paper medical record that was highly mobile. It would move in these canisters that were kind of like torpedo tubes in the buildings. You would load the record in here, and you would load it, and then move it from one place to another. We want our records to last for a long, long time. So there was a Mayo Clinic grade of paper, and you can see it here, it had a high cotton content, so the paper would not turn brittle or yellow. It would last for a long time. This, of course, is very, very old here in our artifact. But to support the paper medical record, we are a policy-driven organization. There was a policy that providers who used the medical record had to have a fountain pen with the official ink of the Mayo Clinic, ink that was chemically proven to be long-lasting. And so how do we know that it worked? There's a great example right over here. We're seeing a photograph from 1934 when President Franklin Roosevelt came to honor the Mayo brothers, calling them Teachers of America. This is one of the few photographs known to be signed by all three dignitaries. So if I were a betting man, I would say that Charles and William Mayo pulled out their fountain pens with the official ink of the Mayo Clinic. Their signatures are in perfect condition many, many years later. The leader of the free world, President Roosevelt, used a commercial grade of ink, and his signature faded.
Wow, this is an original?
This was a photograph that was given to us by a doctor who purchased this at an antique sale. And you can see that the sunlight, when it was framed for many years, faded President Roosevelt's signature.
Wow, wow. I did not know this, Matt. Thanks for sharing that episode. Of course, this sets a great foundation or has been setting a great foundation. You wonder, what will the future look like with developments, inventions, processes like this?
It's very exciting. You can say we've already come a long way from fountain pens in our medical record. So just anticipate where the future can go. It's very exciting. Dr. Mayo said, I look through a half-open door into the future, full of interest, intriguing beyond my power to describe. Great things ahead.
Well said, Matt, well said. And of course, Bold Forward, already on display here at Heritage Hall. A reminder, Heritage Hall is open to patients and staff only at this time, but there is a wonderful digital tour anyone can access on the Mayo Clinic History and Heritage website. Correct, Matt?
Absolutely.
Very well. Well, this concludes our Heritage Highlights series for the week. Matt, thank you so much for joining us with all this great information, and we thank you for watching.
Thank you, Axel.